Well, let's move on to this now. The Special Investigating Unit wants the Special Tribunal to review and set aside 11 million rands worth of contracts with Eskom awarded to companies allegedly with links to a senior manager at the power utility. It's a follow-up to an interim order granted in April. Selby Makgotho is the SIU Tribunal spokesperson. Advocate Makgotho, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time tonight. Firstly, more and more you're beginning to uncover the networks that manage to establish contracts and win procurement work in the form of officials within Eskom who are playing a role in Eskom, but were some way or somehow benefiting from contracts with the power utility as well under different companies.
No, thank you very much, Kathy. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the viewers. Thank you for having me. I could perhaps agree with you on the fact that on a daily basis, as the Special Tribunal, we are beginning to receive applications to review, to set aside, to grant preservation orders. And one of today was one such situation. In today's proceedings, the SIU, it was a forfeiture application in terms of which the SIU approached the Special Tribunal for the former senior manager responsible for coal operations at Eskom, Mr. Mazivhuko. He is alleged to have been a director and a signatory of a company which did work with Eskom. Based on the founding affidavit, based on the pleadings before the Special Tribunal, this constituted an unlawful and improper conduct. It was the basis of the legal arguments in the court today, and judgment has been reserved. But I must also indicate that before the commencement of today's proceedings, there was an application to challenge the jurisdiction of the Special Tribunal in as far as the hearing of the matter is concerned. The allegations actually in the affidavits is to the effect that this unlawful, improper conduct constituted certain elements of the Prevention of Organized Crime and the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act. So the contention by Mazivhuko and other respondents was to the effect that since the POCA is invoked, the NPA would best be placed to institute the proceedings. But that application has since been dismissed, and the hearing ultimately continued.
How were you able to track these payments, which you describe as unauthorized gratification, from these companies that had scored work with Eskom back to Mazivhuko?
It is contended that actually Mazivhuko, through was receiving funds from Eskom suppliers, mainly Commodity Logistics Managers Africa and Tembatlo, via the bank account of Tepuno Keja project between April 2019 and sometime last year. Allegations are that there is a nexus, a causal link between his responsibilities as the senior manager responsible for coal operations in terms of a contract for the transportation of coal from the mining houses to the different Eskom power stations across the country. So there was a spreadsheet showing that the movement of finances, the movement of funds from the contract back to him. And another thing is that the second respondent is Shadrach Mazivhuko, who happens to be the brother to Petros. Allegations are that Shadrach is the one controlling this Tepuno Keja project, and that this Commodity Logistics happens to be an active vendor with Eskom. So all this trail of papers were presented and formed part of and the basis of today's legal proceedings.
You know, you've spoken about freezing assets and monies, in bank accounts to the tune of 11 million rand. How much does the SIU suspect Mazivhuko actually made from these kickbacks?
The evidence on record points to the exact 11 million rands, which as we speak has been frozen as per the Special Tribunal order granted on the 30th of April 2021, in terms of which the bank in possession of these funds has been interdicted, prohibited, and restrained from ensuring that the respondents have access to that. So what is proven on record is the 11 million that is currently being contended, and that the application by the SIU is that this 11 million be declared forfeit to the state.
It's a lot of money for one to have made, especially via kickbacks in the space of the year that the SIU is looking into. Do you think that there's much more to the story, that if you go back a little bit further, you could well find more money linked to the same individual?
The limitation that the Special Tribunal has is that it relies or receives its evidence, its matters, based on the investigations by the SIU, to which we are not privy to or to which we are not involved. But as and when the evidence indicates that there might be an additional amount or other funds elsewhere, the Special Tribunal, as in the past orders, is able to grant a reconsideration application. This is a premise upon which the SIU, as and when they institute civil recovery proceedings, once the new evidence emerges to the effect that there might be certain wrongdoing elsewhere, based on the same papers, they can come back to the Special Tribunal for a reconsideration if there is a reasonable belief that certain funds have not been discovered, and as and when they conduct their investigations, they come across new evidence. We remain open to that.
In as far as the investigation again is concerned, what we know about Mr. Mazibuko, is he still within the employ of Eskom? Is there any work being done by Eskom, if that is the case, to deal with...
At the moment, we were told that he is on suspension, and one of the grounds for suspension, which is in the affidavit, is that he had failed to declare his business interest. And in the hearing today, he just laid bare denials, rebuting almost everything. In fact, he denies even knowing this Tribunal Keja company. So he is on suspension. That is what the Special Tribunal has been told. And as to how far that is a separate matter outside our scope. But in terms of the unauthorized gratification, is what is contended before the Special Tribunal. And at the end of the day, once the evidence has been weighed in, references been made, an order, fair, equitable, and just, will be granted.
Advocate Selby Makgotho, he is the SIU Tribunal spokesperson. Thanks for your time on The Pulse tonight.